The moment you put on a great pair of headphones, the world disappears. That private, immersive experience was built across 140 years of war, obsession, and one man's kitchen. In 1895, wealthy Londoners could listen to live opera at home, in real time, through their telephone lines. The service was called the electrophone. Microphones placed at venues like Covent Garden routed live performances directly to subscribers' phones. You held two receivers, one to each ear, and listened. Long before music, headphones were the telephone operator's burden. A heavy receiver pressed to one ear for entire shifts, while both hands worked the switchboard. As telephone networks expanded in the early 1880s, engineers began strapping receivers to operators' heads with metal bands, freeing both hands. Functional, not comfortable. Wearing a heavy receiver for hours caused neck pain, headaches, and reportedly hearing damage. The technology needed to improve. Someone, somewhere, was going to fix this. In 1910, a self-taught radio enthusiast named Nathaniel Baldwin was experimenting in his kitchen in Salt Lake City. What he built there would become the template for nearly every headphone ever made. Two small receivers mounted on a spring steel headband, connected by a single wire, light enough to wear for hours, sensitive enough to pull faint signals from the air. Baldwin mailed an unsolicited pair to the United States Navy. The Navy tested them, wrote back immediately, and ordered 100 pairs. Baldwin reportedly declined to patent his invention, possibly on religious grounds. That meant his design could be freely copied by anyone, and almost immediately it was. Within a few years, Baldwin's architecture, two drivers, a headband, a cord had become the universal standard for headphone design. More than a century later, it still is. The First World War made headphones essential. Radio operators in the trenches, on warships, and in early aircraft needed to hear faint signals through tremendous noise. Governments ordered headphones built for mud, cold, and rough handling. Competition for military contracts drove rapid improvements in driver sensitivity and overall durability. By the Second World War, headphones were standard equipment for pilots, bombardiers, and naval communicators. Allied factories produced millions of pairs under military contract. In 1937, Beyerdynamic introduced the DT48, one of the earliest headphones using a dynamic moving coil driver, the same fundamental technology found in most headphones today. When the war ended, surplus headphones flooded civilian markets. Radio hobbyists found these precision-built drivers could reproduce music with startling fidelity, and a new use case was born. Until the late 1950s, headphones existed to serve technical functions, radio signals, switchboard calls. No one had designed one purely for the pleasure of music. In 1958, Milwaukee entrepreneur John Koss debuted the Koss SB3 at an audio show. Widely credited as the world's first stereo headphones designed solely for music listening. Koss's pitch was simple: headphones gave you a private concert. Every instrument, every breath, delivered directly to your ears, with no one else disturbed. In 1968, Sennheiser released the HD414, a lightweight, open-back design that, by some accounts, sold over 1 million units. The first headphone that felt genuinely fashionable. Through the 1960s and 70s, a culture of obsessive headphone listening emerged around hi-fi audio. Planar magnetics, electrostatics, exotic wiring, headphones became instruments of obsession. On the 1st of July, 1979, Sony released a product its own sales team reportedly couldn't figure out how to pitch. It had no speaker. It only played music into your ears. The original Walkman weighed about 14 ounces and came bundled with lightweight foam-padded headphones. It was an immediate sensation in Japan, and then the entire world. Before the Walkman, music happened in a place. After it, music happened inside your head, wherever you went. The headphones were what made that possible. Sony sold tens of millions of Walkmans in the first decade. Lightweight portable headphones, once a niche audiophile accessory, became something teenagers wore everywhere. Competing manufacturers pushed headphones smaller and cheaper. The in-ear earbud emerged as a format in the early 1980s, driven entirely by the demand the Walkman had created. When Sony released the Discman in 1984, CD audio quality revealed the limitations of cheap headphones. For the first time, millions of consumers started paying attention to what was on their ears. In 1978, Amer Bose boarded a transatlantic flight, put on the airline's headphones, and found the engine roar was drowning everything out. He pulled out a notepad. Bose was an MIT professor and the founder of the Bose Corporation. His sketch that day, using microphones to detect and cancel ambient noise, would take more than 2 decades to reach the market. Active noise cancellation samples surrounding sound with a microphone, generates an inverse waveform, and plays it back through the driver. The two waves cancel each other before reaching your ear. Bose first developed the technology for military and commercial pilots, where cockpit noise caused fatigue and communication failures. The engineering was exacting. The results were remarkable. In the year 2000, Bose released the Quiet Comfort One, the first consumer noise-canceling headphone, at around $300. Frequent flyers bought it and never looked back. Within 15 years, active noise cancellation became a standard consumer feature. One man's in-flight annoyance in 1978 had quietly reshaped the entire industry. For most of headphone history, the wire was not optional, it was how sound reached your ear. Bluetooth maturity in the 2000s changed that permanently. By the mid-2010s, wireless headphones were mainstream. Apple's AirPods, launched in 2016, placed earbuds in hundreds of millions of ears within just a few years. Streaming gave people unlimited music everywhere they went. Headphones shifted from a secondary purchase to the primary way most people listen to music most of the time. In 2008, Dr. Dre and Jimmy Iovine launched Beats by Dre. Headphones stopped being purely technical objects. They became a statement you made with what you wore on your head. In the late 1990s, as online multiplayer gaming exploded, a headset, headphones with a built-in microphone, became as essential as a mouse. Silence was defeat. Manufacturers built headsets specifically for gaming, reinforced bass for impact, directional audio for spatial awareness, boom microphones for callouts. A new product category was born overnight. As esports matured into a professional industry through the 2000s, the headset became the defining image of the competitive player. It said, "I am at work." At the highest level, professional competitors often wear 2 pairs of headphones simultaneously. In-ear monitors for clean game audio, large over-ear headsets on top to block the crowd. Those over-ear headsets, massive, branded, lit by stadium lights, are direct descendants of Nathaniel Baldwin's kitchen prototype. 1 century of engineering separates them. The idea is identical. From an operator's head strap receiver in 1881 to a professional gamer sealing out an arena, roughly 140 years of the same idea, relentlessly refined. Almost every technology from 1881 is unrecognizable today. The headphone's form, 2 drivers, a bridge, a wire, was essentially correct on the very first attempt. The telephone was built to connect people across distance. The headphone did something unintended. It let you disconnect from the world you were in and enter a better one. This is Origins. Subscribe and come back tomorrow. There's a new origin every single morning.